All right, welcome into this case study interview. Going to be talking with just one of the most amazing entrepreneurs that I've encountered in my entrepreneurial journey, and certainly within CEO Finance Academy. We've just done some cool things with some really cool people, and today you're going to get to meet one of them. I want to introduce you to Paul Kesner, who runs an amazing roofing business, along with some other ventures. But Paul, I would love for you to just introduce yourself briefly. Give us the backstory of your business and how you've gotten to where you're at right now, what it is that you do, and how'd you get here?
Sure. Thank you for that introduction. That was very kind of you. I appreciate it. So I run a roofing company in Columbus, Ohio with two business partners. And we got started in this because we were in the roofing sales in general at another company. We liked what what the company was doing. And we said, hey, how can we do it better? I feel like we have achieved that. So I'm very thankful for that. And we've done great numbers the first 3 years. It's kind of out of the world here. We'll be hitting about $12 million for year 3. So I feel like that's fantastic. But one of the biggest things for me here is that we're roofers in sales and we're not accountants. So I was actually on Instagram and I saw your guys' ad, and I was just thinking to myself here, while I got a 2-year degree, it wasn't in accounting, and I really could use some support and figure out what don't I know. So when I hire this role out, I know if somebody's telling me the truth or not. So that's when I came across you guys. It's been really fun working with you, Alex. And I think that you guys provided us a tremendous amount of value, simply just building confidence and ensuring that we knew what numbers we were supposed to look at in order to make sure that we were running the company correctly.
Yeah.
So we like I said, we
I love that. Sorry to cut you off, but
you're good.
I think what's really interesting about the scenario that you were in, sometimes we have people coming in where it's like, I really need to turn my business around financially, or I really need to make a major change. That wasn't the case for you. You were coming in a good spot.
Yep.
Why,
yeah,
being in a good spot financially, did you feel like, well, I need to level up in this, versus just, hey, I'm ready to hire it out?
Yeah. So the biggest thing here is I'm a person, and I'm sure most entrepreneurs are like, I just need to do all of this myself. Well, that makes you a solo entrepreneur. That doesn't make you a business owner. And I knew that if we were going to scale this out in the direction that we wanted to go, because we've been working together for 6 months now.
Yeah.
And the first 2 years, it was a gut feelings, operating financially off of gut feelings. I know how much is going out and I see how much is coming in. Great. I know I can take this amount of pay for myself, or I know that I need to budget for my subs being paid, the first part of the last part of the month. And I just was kind of tired of operating on a gut feeling. While I still operate on a gut feeling, now I have numbers to back it up. And that's where you guys came into play here, because I didn't know who I could reach out to. I didn't have a mentor that was an accounting background, or I didn't have another roofing company to really even mentor me, or another owner of a roofing company to do that mentoring. And my two partners, they don't have accounting backgrounds either. So I guess I was the person who filled that spot for the three of us, and the three of us work really well together. We all have our strong suits. And I just wanted to make my side of the equation stronger. And I needed somebody like, you to come in and say, really just to pat me on the back and say, actually, you're doing fine and you're on the right trajectory. And then you came in and you gave me hard numbers and things that I need to actually look at, help me understand the P&L and the balance sheets better. And then you guys added a bunch more value with just all the spreadsheets that you have that come in and really say, hey, this is what I need to look at monthly. And it helps you make educated financial decisions through your business. And with all of that, like I said, starting out, being only 3 years in the game here, we just needed to make sure that we were on the right trajectory to hit our goal, which will be $100 million in 10 years. And I think we're doing really well to achieve that.
That's so cool. You guys are on such an incredible track. I'm curious, and this is something that we get a lot. People will ask us all the time, well, why can't my bookkeeper or accountant do what you guys do? So just quick question. Do you have a bookkeeper? Do you have an accountant? And why did you feel like you needed something else? And why couldn't you just go to them and get the same information?
Sure. Realistically, it comes down to a bookkeeper doesn't do what you do because the bookkeeper is into the day, the grit, right? And while you guys have taught me a lot of stuff, what bookkeepers do, I don't need to know the standard operating procedure for what that person does. I just need to know how they got from point A to point B, and they go ahead and operate it. And then they're not going to be looking at the business the same way you are, because I think, a bookkeeper costs you maybe 18 to 25 bucks an hour to just process things. They're not looking at it from a 30,000 foot view. While they probably could, and that's where more of an accountant would come in. And I have an accountant, but that accountant doesn't run the business for us. You need to be able to understand what you're looking at so you can articulate your questions to your accountant and your bookkeeper when you see things on the P&L that don't line up. For instance, if you got something that's a marketing expense and it's not in the marketing, you come across it in your COGS or something, you got to be like, hey, how did this get there? You got to be able to identify problems, because at the end of the day, it's your company. Nobody else is going to run it for you. And you have to be able to at least spot the red flags. You don't need to know how to do everything, but you just need to know when you see something right and when you see something wrong. And that's where you came in and really helped me pull those things and highlight them inside the business.
I love that. What were some of the specific numbers that you were looking to understand better in your business? Because like you said, you actually had a pretty solid understanding of your finances, especially in the macro. You knew, okay, this is what's coming in, this is what's going out, this is what's left over. What were some of the things that you felt like, I really need to understand these numbers better for making decisions?
Well, the biggest thing was understanding a P&L better. While I was able to go on YouTube and get a gist of what that looks like, having somebody to articulate those answers to your questions live is invaluable. And then along with that, the biggest thing that I think every entrepreneur is really looking for is, how do I get paid? Well, like I was saying earlier, I know that my labor bills are due at the end of the month, but I also got my supplier bills due in between there too. Well, when do I get paid? And having a breakdown and somebody to say, well, actually, you're doing really, really well here. You have a great surplus, and just somebody to literally highlight it and say, well, actually, you have enough money to take a draw now, or set up your quarterly distributions, or figure out what it is for you to be on a monthly basis. And that's a piece of the pie that I just didn't have. And while that may seem apparent, obvious to some people, once you're down in the weeds of your business and you want to make sure you're healthy and you're good for the entire year, you need to be able to take a step back and say, okay, this is how much I can actually pay myself. This is what we can plan and create that plan going forward. So essentially, the most important number to me is, okay, now that I got everybody paid, how do I get paid?
Yeah.
And you help me find that.
Love it. What, as you were going through this process, someone might be like, well, how does this actually work functionally? What does it actually look like to work with these guys? And what does the support really look and feel like for me? So could you just describe to someone who's listening, in your own words, what has the experience been like? How is someone going to interact with us, and how has it looked like for you?
So for me, it's been great because we have our one-on-one 1-hour coaching calls where we dive in our P&L and we look at numbers. And I'm free to ask you whatever questions I may have. And you've prompted me to ask a lot of questions that I didn't think to ask, which has been really helpful and great. And then we review our spreadsheets that you guys put together, which are really awesome spreadsheets. They help you understand how you get paid, projections, your baseline burns, stuff like that. Just is you can't really extract from the P&L. And having those available to reference throughout the month is really awesome. I don't have to create those. I'm not a spreadsheet guy. You guys are awesome at creating those. So that's been really nice. And then we have Thursday 1:00 calls, which I unfortunately haven't been to every single one of them, but they are really nice because you have a whole community that comes together. You help each other out. You guys ask the right questions. You're putting things out there that are kind of blanket questions that every entrepreneur is going to have, no matter what industry that you're in. And everybody has something that they can give to you as far as advice or situations that they've been in. And then you guys have your classroom that you school, right? And it's really nice. You guys have all those resources that once you're a member, you can log in, you can watch these different videos, or some of them are on YouTube, and you're able to relive other people's experiences and be able to use that as a reference material on your day-to-day operations. So that's been really nice as well.
Yeah.
The platform that you guys have for that is really nice and easy to use.
Hey, thank you. We appreciate hearing that and the kind words. And one of the questions we get a lot is, I'm already working with another coach, or I'm already getting some kind of business coaching. How do you feel like what we've done together has been different from the other business coaching you've gotten?
Well, this is actually the first of its kind for me. I haven't had another finance coach before, but I've had other business coaches who just don't get into the weeds on things like this. And I don't know why these other companies are just not niching down. They're trying to it seems like they're really just trying to help you start your company. But you don't really have anybody out there that I have found that helps you continue to build your company. Everybody wants to be there for the startup. And I think it's because it's easier. But once you can put together a group of people who say, hey, yeah, you're doing great. Your business is already running. Maybe you're 1, 2, 5, 20 years down the line, but now you need some tweaking. That's where you guys come in, because at the end of the day, if you're not running your business, you're not going to be in business for 5, 10, 15 years. But if you are still here, how do you increase the efficiency? And realistically, that starts in the accounting department. So that's where you guys provide a lot of value. And I feel like across the board, whatever industry you're in, this is where you need to really focus. Because if you don't know your numbers, you don't know where your money's at, you won't be able to maximize your profits, and 2, you may not be in business for too long.
It's true. And one of the things that I respect about you so much as an owner is you have taken such true ownership over the outcomes in your business, and not just said, well, I'm just going to bring in someone else to handle this, or I'm going to bring in someone else to handle this. One of the things that, if people were listening early on as we started, you said, I wanted to understand this first myself so that then I could bring someone else in and essentially hold them accountable, know how to hold their feet to the fire appropriately if needed, or know when things are getting done correctly or not. And I think that's the sign of someone who is going to be very successful long-term, not just having a quick flash in the pan success and then, burning out because they handed off everything but didn't understand it well enough to be able to get the consistent good result that they're looking for. And you've done such a good job as you've grown your business. I've watched you, from my side of the table, as you're hiring people, as you're putting different processes in place. You guys own the outcomes that you have because you take responsibility for them, instead of just saying, we're growing, so I need to delegate everything. And while that's true, you've also been able to say, well, I want to understand it so that I can grow correctly. And you've done a great job of that. It's been really fun to watch from this side of the table. So I would love to know, and I think that maybe someone listening would like to know, what is the outcome that you feel like you will have gotten from working together, from focusing on your numbers? And maybe the best way to ask it is, what is the ROI of doing this? Because it's not easy intellectually to sit down and look at the numbers at this level. I mean, it takes some mental effort to do that. What do you feel like the ROI is, either now or in the future, for your business because of what we've done together?
To put an actual number on it, I'm not sure I could do that right now. But the biggest thing that I took away from this is actually peace of mind, because you're building your baby here, right? You want to know it's going to be around for a while, and you need to know that, one, you need to know your numbers. If you have an accounting background, awesome. But maybe you just need somebody to just give you a second look at something. That's what you guys do. But the peace of mind that I got from just working with you here for the last few months has been, lets me sleep at night. That's the biggest ROI I get from it. And like I said, knowing that I know my numbers, knowing I know where all these numbers are going and where we're headed and what we have to do to continue what we're doing, I definitely got that from you guys. So maybe one day I'll be able to put an actual dollar figure on it.
What's funny though, is actually when I asked that question, that's actually the most common response is, it's hard to put a number on it, because it's like, well, what is the monetary value of understanding the financials in your business? It's like, well, if we go 5 or 10 years down the road, not knowing, it's like, gosh, maybe I'm not even going to be in business anymore. But certainly I think that the short-term ROI is, I don't have to worry so much about it. I have an understanding of it, and I have certainty in the numbers. And for me, that's why we started this in the first place, is I'm a certainty addict, right? It's like, I want to understand these things. And it's the same for me. I want to be able to sleep well at night, knowing that, yes, what I'm doing is working. Or if it's not, I want to understand why, so I can go fix it at the end of the day. And
so you just need to tell everybody that if they want to put a price on it for ROI, just say, what's the price of sanity?
I love it. Well, Paul, thank you so much. I appreciate you letting us walk through your journey a little bit. And if someone's like, man, I want to see what these guys are doing, because you guys are doing some very cool stuff.
Thank you.
Where could someone find out about you and your company and what you're doing?
Absolutely. So we have our website, which is roofkingco.com. Like I said, we're based in Columbus, Ohio. Then I do a really bad job of Instagram personally, but I'm on Instagram at Paul R. Kesner. My business partner is on here, Jared Lane, and then Cameron Ross as well. And then finally, we have our Roof King Co. Instagram page and Facebook. So you can find us there as well. We're doing a really great job of getting our social media up and then revamping our website. So hopefully if somebody does take a gander at it, they'll like what they see.
I love it. Well, and we appreciate your influence in our community. Paul, from the very beginning, jumped in and started offering things that were working well for him in terms of how he was operating his business. I know that you had even taken time to give some very specific answers to people in our community that were just so helpful. And I just have a ton of respect for you, man, both as an entrepreneur and as a client. Thank you so much for your time today and walking through the story. It's going to be fun to keep watching your journey, man. Appreciate you, Paul.